He is coming. He is coming to us. Nosferatu is here.
Did Pride and Prejudice just celebrate another anniversary?
Is it 15?
I think it is 15.
Or 20?
It's 20, maybe?
Oh, God.
Yeah, I think it is 20. Oh, let's not say it, but Joe Wright, you're a genius, sir. Hello, I'm Jacqueline Coley. Welcome to Scene on the Screen, brought to you by Make It Universal and Rotten Tomatoes, where we talk movies with some of the people behind the scenes at NBC Universal. When entertainment works best, sometimes it opens a window into a world we've never imagined. Other times, it shows us a mirror image of our lives with a heightened sense of home. Today, we're going to dig into the question, what have you seen on the screen that has done that? My guest today is Vice President of Creative Content at Focus Features, Angela Vesagas. Angela, welcome to the Scene on the Screen podcast.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to chat with you because we've worked together before. So I'm going to ask a slightly awkward question, but hey, so who are you and what do you do at NBC Universal?
My name is Angela Vesagas, and I am the VP of Creative Content at Focus Features.
And I love that I got to chat with you at the beginning of your time at Focus Features. It was a journey to get here, but tell me a little bit more about what your position sort of entails.
Yeah, I mean, I've been at Focus for for 7 years now. Creative content is kind of a traditional role at a studio. Essentially, like the main part of the job is I'm in charge of bringing on our crews to capture behind the scenes footage on our productions. Or if we acquire a film either at a film festival or through some other means, then I'm in charge of kind of taking in all of those BTS materials and essentially sharing it with the world. So there's a little bit of that. I also run all of our productions and special shoots for any marketing type of shoots. And then over the course of the time that I was at Focus, we started developing what we call digital series. It's kind of a spin on a behind the scenes featurette where it's a little bit more formatted. And there's kind of like a through line and essentially like certain beats you got to hit. Sometimes they're hosted. And so we produce those too. So It's busy all the time, which is great.
Yeah. And you work on every Focus Features film.
Yeah. It's kind of from beginning to end. So as soon as something goes into production, we're pulled in early to read the scripts and to kind of figure out what days are most important to capture while we have everybody on set. And then all the way through the marketing campaign and all the way through theatrical release. And then sometimes movies come back. People from the home entertainment side need anything or anything like that. We kind of get pulled in again. So, but it's fun. You get to see kind of the full life cycle of a film and its marketing campaign.
Yeah. And I think, did Pride and Prejudice just celebrate another anniversary pretty soon here?
Yeah. I think, is it 15?
I think it is 15.
Or 20.
It's 20 maybe?
Oh, gosh.
Girl, God, I think it is 20.
It's one of those.
Yeah, I think it is 20. Oh, let's not say it, but Joe Wright, you're a genius, sir. And that's like another one of those things that you definitely work on. And your job is one of these ones that I tell people this podcast is so valuable for, because unless you worked in LA or like knew somebody, you wouldn't necessarily know that job existed. So how did you come to it? Because I feel like it's one of those like secret little stash away things. It's like a little paradise.
Sure. I mean, when I started my career, I was just thinking, okay, what can I do that's tied to film? And maybe marketing felt like a nice formal place where it felt a little secure and I could study or try something out and kind of get in. So that was what I had in my mind, not realizing how big marketing is, especially in the film world and entertainment in general. So I actually started at a pretty traditional agency. They did a lot of print, radio, TV for Hispanic audiences. So we were working with clients like Farmers Insurance and Dunkin' Donuts and Kaiser Permanente. So very different from what I'm currently doing. But the goal had always been entertainment. So I kind of had an opportunity come up for an unpaid internship at a digital agency doing digital marketing. So this is back in the day of like flash advertisements on websites. We were just learning about HTML websites because mobile phones started becoming a bigger thing and more people had internet on the go. So it was really kind of at this interesting time where marketing, especially in the digital space, was kind of just sparking and growing. We had some of the very first social campaigns, which is very weird to say now, considering everybody is on their phones all the time on social media. And so that was kind of my bread and butter. I learned a lot of digital marketing and kind of saw it go through a bunch of different early phases. And I was doing that, I don't know, maybe around 6 years or something like that. Then I had a short stint at BuzzFeed, where I took a lot of the content creation part of being at an agency and tried to kind of work that into branded content at BuzzFeed. So I did that, and that was where I was right before I hit Focus. When I got to Focus, I was overseeing brand marketing. So that's everything Focus features on social, online. It's like YouTube. And at that time, Facebook Watch was really new. So I was kind of tasked with, hey, can we do anything a little bit more long form? Is there anything you can bring from your, content creation background into it? And that's when we started developing our digital series, our first one that you were a part of.
Shush.
So that was really fun. That one was called That Scene. And that was back in, was that 2017?
16 or 17. Yeah, 17, yeah.
Yeah, so it'd been a minute, and that one was really successful. And so we were essentially greenlit to do a bunch more. And I feel like now we have about maybe 20 different formats. So, and they kind of run the gamut in terms of production value. So we've got a travel show called Real Destinations, but it's all about filming locations. We have a fashion-based one.
Cooking show too, yeah.
And a cooking show for Downton Abbey. So kind of a little bit of everything, right?
Yeah.
And then we also capture content with our talent at junkets and kind of do more short form things for them as well, which worked well on social. So
you really followed the maturization of digital media through all of those spots kind of along the way. Like you were kind of growing up in your career at the same time the internet was being legitimized in commerce. So you really kind of had a first eye look at all that.
It was a crazy time, and I feel like marketing for me was always really interesting because it was constantly changing. I think especially in the digital space and trying to figure out, what's the next big thing that we can do, or what's the next different thing that we can do. I think now with like AR, VR, and just kind of even AI, like all of the different technologies within a digital space constantly keeps us on our toes to see like what is the next coolest thing that we can do to get our movies out there.
Very cool. Well, I know one cool thing we can do right now. That is dive into some quotes.
Okay.
So these are things that you've seen on the screen, though. So no reason to.
So, I don't have to.
You don't have to do anything. This is, you sit
I will
back
just sit here.
I know this is different for you. I know. When I'm around you, I kind of feel like I'm on drugs. Not that I do drugs, unless you do drugs, in which case I do them all the time.
That is Scott from Scott Pilgrim versus the World trying to impress Ramona Flowers.
Yes. Who you are doing a great vibe check today. It feels very Ramona this
I
look.
will take it. I've cosplayed as Ramona and I've done it many a time.
Really?
Yeah.
I actually dig that even more. Scott Pilgrim is such a kind of iconic Universal film.
And it's like just the right amount of like over the top awkward humor at the same time with action and cool music. And video game references, which I really like.
And then also, I mean, it wasn't a huge hit when it first came out. But again, it was just this movie that everybody sort of built a cult following and the home video sales for it, along with like now it has a TV show.
Yeah, I was working at the theme park when that movie came out, and I remember they did a screening on the lot here at Universal, and I brought my little brother.
Wow.
So it's like one of those movies that we watched together, me and him, and then we dragged our sister into it. So
yes, okay. So tell this whole story because you're a Universal girl, born and bred. Like you're from Southern California, and you worked on the park before you now work here.
Yeah. So born, bred, raised, never left kind of situation. Grew up in the Valley. And so the theme park was always a place that we would just go to. So during the summers, we'd always have an annual pass. We'd go with our parents. We'd go when family was in town. And that was like always one of the stops. My favorite ride was the tram ride because you could learn a lot about how movies are made. I could give my own version of the backlot tour on a golf cart, which I'm pretty proud of.
Nice.
And so it was funny. And then I worked at the theme park selling tickets in the ticket booths. So it was kind of like a full circle thing when I ended up back at Universal in in the guise of focus features.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's really dope. And, back on the lot, as they say.
yes.
Next quote. Welcome. This is where the magic happens. And as we all know, by magic, I mean nothing.
That is Emma Stone and Easy A welcoming her friend to her room because he came by to just say hi and give her a proposition, so to speak.
This was where she was on her pathway to get that Scarlet A. This is such a good movie. It's kind of like a perfect little like pick-me-up movie. Is that what it is for you?
100%. I feel like it's one of those, every time I kind of see it, I want to just turn it on. It's one of those fun ones to have in the background. One of those other movies I can quote all the time. Emma Stone's amazing in it.
Her last and most frequent collaborator to this point, Yorgos Lanthimos. Y'all have his next movie as well. Yeah.
So Begonia is over at Focus Features, slated for this year.
Mhm.
So Emma is starring in it along with Jesse Plemons, and she's also producing, which is really cool.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I hope that you got her some kind of Easy A reference to sort of like tie that circle, or better yet, make him watch her in Easy A. That would be even better.
Yeah. Yorgos, please approve.
Yes, please approve. Exactly. I love Easy A too. And also the movie that kind of told us that Emma Stone was going to be incredible. Third quote. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return.
That is a quote that used to make me cry all the time when I was in high school and very, very emotional. But that is from Baz Luhrmann's Moulin Rouge.
I love Moulin Rouge. I love the like craziness of it and just how his sort of like cinematic mind is just exploding off of that film.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first movies that I would watch over and over and over again just because visually it's so stunning.
Yeah.
And then, as a very emotional teenager, it was just something I attached myself to.
It really does give you the feels, man. Baz is, again, such a singular filmmaker, but why is he special to you?
I mean, Moulin Rouge is it's like my go-to favorite movie of all time. If anyone ever asks me, that's kind of what I say. Baz Luhrmann, for me, it was, like maybe the first time I geeked out over a filmmaker. He's got a visual style. He's got a musical sense that is all kind of entangled in a beautiful way in all of his films. So every single time I see his name attached to something, I always want to go see it. Like the first film that I saw from him was Romeo plus Juliet.
Yeah.
And that one, I think, hits home for a lot of millennials, I guess.
Yeah, it does.
But, even going back and rewatching a lot of these movies, it's just amazing to see kind of how he crafts a story with all of these different elements put together. It's a visual feast, I will say.
Which it was awarded for, because I think it got 2 Oscar wins for costuming and for production design. And speaking of awards, though, we talked about these series that you did earlier. Did you not get an Emmy nomination for a couple of them?
Yeah, we got 2 Emmy nominations, one for Real Destinations, which I mentioned, our travel show, and then one for Dressed, which is our costume show. So it's crazy because we've had a lot of iterations of them.
Yeah.
One of them we actually launched pre-pandemic, but just right before it happened.
Wow.
And Dressed, I think we actually launched during the pandemic. So during that time, the series also changed quite a bit. So we had like virtual versions, and we had to do a handful of interviews over Zoom. And then it kind of evolved some more for us to go back onto the locations again once everything started opening up. So it's been a labor of love for sure.
Let's get it. I dig that. And especially for that type of content. I mean, people expect that from certain like, PBS series or whatever, but really just like for the love of movies, such an accomplishment.
Thank you. It was exciting.
Awesome. All right. Quotes were done and you did amazing. Let's move on over to our second one, which is these are true or false.
Okay.
The 1957 film Old Yeller was the first live-action film produced by Disney. True or false?
I think that's false because I remember it was part of a string of a bunch of live actions that they had just started doing. So it probably is not the first.
No, the first was actually 7 years prior in 1950, and it was Treasure Island. So that was actually the first. But, I mean, set everything off. We don't get the MCU without Treasure Island, apparently.
This is true.
Old Yeller's sad. Are you an Old Yeller person?
I mean, I'm a dog person, which is probably why I love Old Yeller.
Wait, what? No, he died. Spoiler alert. He dies. How can you be a dog person? It's such a sad movie.
It's sad, but it's a story about a boy and his dog at the end of the day. And it doesn't hurt at the end unless you've really had that connection with a dog. So that's kind of why I love it so much, but it is very sad.
I was just about to say, we need more time to examine this because I know dog people that won't watch a movie if the dog dies, even if it is Old Yeller. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you got to get the tears out a little bit.
I think I'm just feeling like you want the feels, and so you're like, go for the jugular. Let's go for the dog movie. That's fair. I can respect that.
I mean, it's funny too. I just feel like I had the VHS growing up, and I probably asked my parents to buy it because there was a dog on the cover. But that's, a VHS that I watched front to back, and it's really funnily enough, there's behind the scenes features on the back end. You just have to wait through all the credits. And so
while you're weeping.
Oh yeah, while you're weeping. But he does get a puppy in the end. So it's a little happy.
No.
But I always loved watching behind the scenes content, which is kind of funny that I'm working in that now. And I don't know why this is a core memory, but on the Old Yeller VHS, there was a segment about Foley artists, and they're talking about like the scuffle scene, and you can see them like moving twigs and stuff in the dirt to kind of make sounds for that, and you can hear them like opening and closing doors, and that kind of part of the movie magic has always resonated with me and has always been really cool. So it's fun that I get to kind of do that now in my day-to-day job.
Love it. Next trivia question. The 1922 film Nosferatu was the first time a vampire died from exposure to sunlight. True or false?
I want to say true, just because I know how much people love that version of the movie. And I feel like that would be something new that maybe kind of push them to like it so much.
I did not know it was true, but I definitely remember that scene, mostly because it features prominently an Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt. It is like the scene where he's like, I first saw the sunlight. And he said he first saw it watching Nosferatu. So I guess that was the first time there was the sun. See, there you go.
Connecting the dots.
Connecting the dots by context clues. But yeah, previous vampire novels such as Bram Stoker's Dracula had shown vampires disliking sunlight, but Nosferatu was the first time it killed them. And you have the latest Nosferatu from Robert Eggers.
Yeah. Robert Eggers' reimagining of Nosferatu is probably one of my favorite films that Focus has done. It's a horror movie for sure. Yeah. And it's very scary. I'm not the biggest horror fan because I'm usually the one covering my face and my ears because it's a little too scary for me. But in addition to it being a masterful horror movie, it's pulling all the stops in terms of the creativity, in terms of like getting heads of departments on a production that are kind of at the top of their game. The performances are amazing, and he really, really builds this world that you kind of get sucked into, no pun intended. And it's a gorgeous film, and I think that adds to how scary it is because it's really kind of it drapes itself in this kind of amazing noir and kind of gothic look. And it's very realistic because Robert Eggers is all about detail and all about the history and the research that goes into his movies, which makes them awesome.
And I know this was like, first of all, a big moment for Focus Features because of how big the film was, but it was also, I think, a special moment for you, like putting out content with it because it was, again, it's a very special film.
Yeah, this movie was I think probably the first movie I went to set like while we were in production to film one of our digital series. So we filmed an episode of Dressed there and did a really nice intimate conversation with Linda Muir, our costume designer. We were in the costume department. All of the costumes were propped up and laid out for us to take a look at. And just the amazing detail that was, in every single piece, and kind of what that told about each character and what it kind of added to the story was really, really fascinating. She collaborated really, really closely with Rob to get that look down, and a lot of things that he had suggested to kind of bring it to life. When the movie had come out, I think from start to finish, because we were there on the production, feels like I want to say 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I had been working on that movie for so long. So satisfying to see it out on the big screen and seeing how everyone had reacted to it.
Yeah. Okay, last trivia question. The mahogany desk and chair in the music room at Downton Abbey once belonged to Napoleon. True or false?
Highclere Castle is Downton Abbey. And I feel like that estate has been around for so long. I wouldn't be surprised if that's true.
Yeah. True. They were bought by the 3rd Earl of Carnarvon in 1821 after Napoleon's death.
Wow.
Yeah. The chair was made for Napoleon, and they had a sketch made of him circa 1804.
I'm wondering if I've seen that there, like when I visited. I'm trying to
Yeah. The Lord and the Lady are the ones that had the sketch made of him. That's kind of crazy, though. I mean, I guess rich people can do what they want.
Just go shopping
be like,
for
let's just
desks.
make a chair and like all of this stuff for Napoleon. It's cool though. But listen, that's the big film this year for Focus.
Yeah, it's the 3rd and final installment of Downton Abbey. Although, you know, you can always find a reason to go back.
Yeah. And because Downton had this built-in fandom, myself included, of people from the show, when you got to put your work into the production of the film, you really got to do a lot, both for the first 2 and now for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Downton Abbey is a really special one to work on because, like you said, the fan base is just eager for everything and anything. As a fellow fangirl, just in general, I try to see what would I like if I was like the biggest fan of this movie. It's cool. We, Real Destinations, we shot our pilot episode for Downton Abbey, and that's when I was able to visit Highclere, along with a bunch of other places that were featured, not just in the film, but also the TV show. And then outside of that, for the second film, the biggest thing that we did, I think it was a 4 or 5 episode series. That was a cooking series, cooking show called Downton Kitchen. It was hosted by Nene Wynn, who was on Top Chef. We had Mr. Molesley, Kevin Doyle, come in and cook a couple of recipes with her. And then also the historian who helped write the cookbook, she was there for an episode as well. So it's kind of a fun way to, again, trying to think out of the box in terms of how to market a movie and kind of give fans something that they'd be excited to see.
Lovely. You did amazing. Perfect score. Now I am going to dive into the world of Universal Pictures a little bit, and I'm going to hand this over to you. And if you can pop that top, just pop it open like a top of
Scared.
Yeah.
Oh, it literally popped.
It really does pop, just like popcorn buckets. See, we just got to keep that theme going. This is for me. These are multiple choice. You're going to give me a movie quote, and I'm going to have to pick it out of a lineup. And there's a reason why it has to come out of a lineup, because the devil is in the details of those ones. I'm telling you.
All right. Let's get started. We're going to have to watch that temper of yours. Is that A, Hellboy 2, The Golden Army, B, Hulk, or C, Kick-Ass 2?
I'm going to say Hulk.
Yes.
Thanks.
Yeah,
Okay.
He's got a temper.
Is that the Banner Hulk or is that the Norton Hulk?
Both probably had tempers. So
yeah, this is true.
Probably be okay.
All of them are good.
All right. I once saw him beat a guy up with a starfish. A, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, B, Hot Fuzz, or C, By the Sea?
Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Yeah. I don't know what that is. Is that Paul Rudd? Is that Paul Rudd saying that? I think that's Paul Rudd saying that.
I can totally imagine him
I
saying
mean,
that.
because he's so random in that movie, but he is so good.
Yeah. Nice little cameo.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Let your heart guide you. It whispers, so listen closely. A, About Time. B, The Land Before Time. Or C, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I see what we did there with the ABC.
I think this is The Land Before Time, isn't it?
It is.
Yes! Littlefoot!
Cry scene.
Do you know how many Land Before Times there are?
Definitely more than 14 because I had up to 14 on VHS.
I think it's like 17 or more now.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Oh, there's more now?
There's more now. Like that is a well that does not runneth dry.
Littlefoot. It's Littlefoot, Steven Spielberg. It'll always hit.
That one, that was a good time.
All right, last one. At the beep, please leave your name, number, and a brief justification for the ontological necessity of modern man's existential dilemma, and we'll get back to you. That's either A, House Sitter, B, The Real McCoy, or C, Reality Bites.
Girl, we were doing so well. We were doing so well.
This one's hard.
I have literally no justification for this other than it is an answering machine, and Reality Bites would have an answering machine.
That's correct.
Yay! But I did not know that. I did not know that. I've seen Reality Bites, but I did not remember that.
Context clues.
The context clues gave that one away. They are being kind to us. I appreciate it.
I will take it.
Or maybe we're just so experienced producing film content together that this just bled into it.
Maybe. These were hard though, so I give you props to that one.
I appreciate that. I finally feel like I achieved something. It does not normally go this well. Trust me. It absolutely does not.
It's like I've listened to some of the other episodes.
No, yeah. You're just like, oh no, I know how much you suck about this. Thank you, Angela. But before we get out of here, a little rapid fire. Favorite movie snack?
Popcorn
Just by itself?
with butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nifty.
Have to.
Last show you binged?
Oh. Does Love is Blind count?
Absolutely. Actor who can do no wrong?
I'm going to go with Ewan McGregor.
Oh, that's a great one. That is a great one.
And Obi-Wan.
Going to the movie theater alone, yes or no?
Yes. I actually just did that recently.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm more surprised at people that say no in our job for doing that, because I'm like, we're always in a theater.
I started doing it recently, but it's nice.
Favorite classic Universal film?
I'm going to go with E.T.
That's a good one.
The reason I hesitated was because when I worked at the theme park, you put on your badge favorite Universal movie, and I put Brokeback Mountain, which is my favorite Focus movie of all time. And then at that time too, Scott Pilgrim versus the World just came out, so I really wanted to put that. But if we're going classic, I'm gonna go E.T.
No, E.T. is a good one. Yeah, great answers.
Thanks.
Angela, it was so great talking with you about your career at NBC Universal and all of the incredible films you've seen on the screen.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.